What's good with y'all, man? It's your boy Tick, aka Game Fanatic, the Michael Jordan, the game, and also the Rebel of the YouTube Underground. I'm back with another video. JG and T-Fly. Yeah, I know I upload videos every day or every other day, whatever, you know, but I don't do commentaries every day. Sometimes I do a filler, but y'all ugly for saying that in that video. But I want to thank y'all for giving me shout-outs, because y'all give me a lot of shout-outs in that daggone video, the podcast y'all did recently. But anyway, man, I'm going to do a fun com today. You know, I was going to do one of my normal opinionated commentaries, because that's what I seem to be known for from watching the podcast again. But it is true, I am very opinionated, but you know, that's what I do. You know, I don't have a problem voicing my opinion. If you got a problem with it, kick rocks. But anyway, I wanted to do something fun today. I'm gonna do a fun com, man. Hopefully you guys can relate to this, but I know you guys see the title right there. We're gonna be talking about fat kids, man, because I believe every crew growing up has to have a fat kid, man. It's got to be that fat kid in the crew. I had one. I'm pretty sure everybody else had one, and I know some of you guys were probably the fat kid in the crew, because I know a certain commentator, he hasn't shown his face or anything, but I could tell just by watching him build his rig. I'm not going to say his name, but I watched him build his rig, and I could see his fingers were kind of fat and stubby, so I already could tell he was kind of chubby. Then he also played a game with his created character, and I saw his created character was kind of chubby, so I already know that some of my commentators were probably that fat kid, unless he got fat as he got older. But it's a reason you gotta have a fat kid in the crew, man. They're the comic relief of the crew, man. I know it sounds wrong, but man, 90% of the time they are the comic relief. I mean, everything about the fat kid is just funny. I mean, first of all, this isn't always true. I know this certain commentator, if he was a fat kid, get drop shot on APB. But anyway, that's that Call of Duty practice right there. But anyway, I know he's gonna be like, man, I wasn't like that. I wasn't like that when I was little. I was the man. You know, you always deny. But fat kids, man, they always. Oh, hold on, I'm about to outplay this chick. Get the Duke. And they said she was hacking, but she wasn't hacking well right there. But what happened? Yeah, they're always something that's funny about them. I mean, first of all, they're the slowest most of the time. They're also the ones that are the softest. They're always the ones that get hurt and run to their mom, complain about something. It's always them. They're always the ones that are friends with the girls, and I mean just friends with them, not going with them because they want to go with them, but they can't do it. So they're like best friends with the females, and they normally act real feminine sometimes. But that's not always true. There's only a few.
They're all like right there.
Also, man, they're the strongest, so you gotta watch out for them. Even though they soft, you don't really want to fight them sometimes, because they can surprise you, because they carrying that weight around and they pick you up and they'll handle you. So there's a lot of things, but one thing about big people that makes them the comic relief though is something. Hold on, I forgot one other trait. One other trait is they always are good dancers. I mean, they make dances up, and it's just for some reason fat people, when they dance, it just looks right. My homeboy, Dumb, was talking about, used to make so many funny dances to songs that he used to like, because he was a big Bad Boys fan back in like early 2000s and stuff, and like he used to make the funniest dances ever, son. Like, I'm not lying to you. But anyway, one of the things that fat kids do the most is when anything bad happens, it happens to the fat kid. And that is why it's funny. Anything funny and bad at the same time is always the fat kid, son. So that's why I want to talk about my homeboy Phil. Now, I wasn't going to say his real name at first. I was going to use a fake name. But you know why everybody uses a fake name all the time? They always use a name that's like very, very similar to the real name. So I was going to make a name like Bill. And you guys would have guessed what his name was probably off that anyway. But it don't matter. He wouldn't see this comment unless I tell him. So
there was nothing on the ground.
One of the things that happened that was funny is when well, first let me tell you how I met this dude. The way I met Phil, man, was back in middle school. Now, mind you, this gameplay you're seeing, it's going to be 2 different missions, by the way. I just want to point that out. It's going to be 2 different missions that we played. I wanted it to be a long com so I can do all this talking. But anyway, the way I met Phil was when I was 13, all right? Mind you, I lived in this general area just about all my life. I moved away and always came back. So the first time I moved away, I ended up coming back to visit my homeboy that I grew up with. And he was showing me some of the new crew, because most of the guys that we grew up with around the area moved away. So he was showing me the new crew, and Phil was one of them. And the way I met Phil was, the first time I saw him, I saw he was outside fussing with the 6th grader. Mind you, we were in the 7th grade around this time. He was arguing with some 6th grade girl. and like she was just saying he said something about her or something like that, and then like he had like a handful of wrestling action figures and a wrestling ring in his hand. Mind you, we outside, and like they were fussing. I remember he had like a high pitched voice. I already thought that was funny, so she swung and hit him. So my man Phil picked her up and body slammed her, and I think he broke a leg or something like that too. She actually had a broken leg from that, because I remember seeing her with crutches and a cast. And he broke a leg, man. Then like we went over and chilled. So when I came back and moved around the area again, I actually started going to school with them again. And the first thing I said to him was like, "Hey yo, you was the dude that got hit by that girl, weren't you?" And he got mad because I was laughing when I said. And he didn't like me for a little bit. I remember he told this one chick that I ain't like, and I was talking about it, and like she hated me for the whole year until she finally told me why. And I was like, "Oh, that's messed up," but. And then he was like, "Oh man," his response to that was, "Man, you was gay, yo. I'm sorry." But after that, man, we became real cool. So here's the funniest thing that ever happened to Phil to me. All right, so we got in 9th grade, and we go to the worst high school in Baltimore City at the time. Now, mind you, at this time, they got a new lady that was supposed to take over the school, and I guess she was supposed to be like the Dr. Clark or whatever, you know, from Eastside High. You know what I mean? Like she was supposed to be that or whatever, and she was supposed to be changing the school and make it better. She had all these Muslims walking around in suits, and they were supposed to be like security. They walk around the hallways, being the hall monitors and stuff. It was hilarious, selling bean pies and stuff. So eventually, the school was doing good at first, but eventually it went back to, you know, the way it was. It was bad. So one day we walking home from school. We lived like probably 8 minutes away from school walking, all right? And a couple MTA buses go by. Now, mind you, can catch the MTA bus to go home because they didn't have yellow buses at our school. It was really, really bad, low public school. It didn't have any yellow buses. Most Baltimore City schools didn't have yellow buses. They were all public transportation buses. So we walking home, chilling, talking, laughing about school and everything, what went on. And we seeing these buses go by. We're not paying no mind. But there's one bus behind us. We heard like these popping noise coming from. We're like, what's that? It was like that. We're like, yo, what is that? I heard the sound from somewhere. And my homeboy, my godbrother that I grew up with, he was like, yeah, I heard that sound from something too. So I decided to look back, and I see when the bus is coming, there's a muzzle sticking out the window and smoke coming from it. I'm like, oh snap. And then as soon as the bus turns, like goes by us, I turn to the left, and I see like a splash of paint go across my eyes. And I look over and I see my dude Phil holding his arm with his head in his eyes. I'm like, yo, he just got shot by a paintball. And I'm like, I'm sitting there like, yo, you good, yo? And he ain't saying nothing. And then my homeboy, my godbrother, went up to him to ask him. He's like, yo, you all right, Phil? My man Phil ain't saying nothing. He stood like that holding his arm for 2 minutes. And then that's when he finally lift back up after wiping his eyes, and he was like, oh, that's why he wasn't showing his face. He was crying.
Haven't had a need for one.
So, yo, it's bad to laugh at him, but it's always something bad happening to him. Like, it's always something that's funny that's bad happening to him. Later on, after I left the school and I went to a better school in Baltimore City, I heard that they got chased by these guys who were, the last day of school, they were following the buses in cars with paintball guns in the cars, and they would get out when people were getting off the bus and start lighting them up. So my dude saw this. My dude saw this about to happen to them, so they just broke. So he said, my godbrother said he was taking off, just going. All of a sudden, he felt something pulling on his backpack. And he was like, yo, something was pulling, so he started struggling harder, trying to run harder. And he said all of a sudden he felt it come loose, and he looked back and he saw Phil rolling across the street. Because Phil was trying to hold on to his backpack, tell him to hold up so he could catch up to him. I'll tell you, son, you gotta have a fat kid in your crew, son, because they too funny. But leave some feedback, man. Let me know if you guys had that one fat kid in your crew that was just hilarious, man. But anyway, this your boy Tick, and I'm gone. Bye.